Your boy is back. We're going to be recapping UFC Fight Night Rio, Oliveira versus Gamrot. Our boy is back. The champion has a name. This was during my cousin's wedding, so I only watched so much of this card, but I tried my best to watch as much of this card as possible. I definitely obviously saw the main event. Fucking Charles Oliveira's back. We're coming for Max Holloway. Then we're going to knock out Ilia Topuria. Let's get into this fucking card. It's also late and I'm tired, but we're going to start with the main event. Charles Oliveira versus Gamrot. Vintage Charles Oliveira. I mean, this was a special performance from the guy. Let's be fucking real. The Lion does not lose. He does not concern himself with losing. He bullied Gamrot in this fight. Listen, who bullies Gamrot like that? It was an absolute masterclass from him, and in my opinion, it's one of his best wins. I know it might not be the flashiest like he had against the first Chandler fight, or the Poirier, or the Gaethje, or even the Dariush fight, but this is right up there, in my opinion. I'd put this right around that Dariush fight in terms of just outclassing and outschooling a guy and showing that there's levels in the fucking lightweight division. I had him by round 3 submission. Thought he was going to get it by guillotine. I had a nice bet in on that, and it didn't hit, but whatever. We wanted him to fucking just win anyway. Got him a little earlier in round 2, and he just looked so clean. There were so many dominant grappling exchanges from him in this. And in the first round, he was landing better shots on Gamrot, and then Gamrot eventually he's like, fuck it, I'm going to shoot on him. He shoots with his head on the outside, and there were some scrambles, and then Gamrot kind of gets a takedown with his head on the outside, so you're immediately thinking guillotine. Charles can't get it in there, and then he's trying to like pin Gamrot's arm when Charles is on the bottom in like that omoplata submission, which you rarely see. I mean, it barely happens. I know Bisping was talking about it, but it's a really odd, tricky spot for Gamrot where like he did a nice job getting his legs over the top, but then Oliveira literally just fucking reversed and took his back. And was trying to get a rear naked choke at that end of the first round. And Gamrot did a good job defending it. Round's over. So Charles takes round 1 with some really nice, Brazilian jiu-jitsu off his back. And you're going in round 2. And I felt literally, after that first round, I felt so confident. I was like, there's no fucking way the Lion loses this shit. And the first and the second round, dude, Charles Oliveira was literally walking this dude down. Walked him fucking down, and Gamrot was, he was throwing his 1s and 2s, and he was hitting Charles. Like, I don't know if he really stunned him, but he definitely got some clean shots on him, and Charles really didn't care. He was like, fuck it. This guy's shots literally mean nothing to me. Gamrot's pillow hands are not going to do anything, and Charles just aura-farmed and mogged him literally that entire round. He knew Gamrot had no power to literally knock him out, and nothing bothered Charles. He would just get hit and just keep fucking walking forward. It was kind of like, I said in the video, in the breakdown for this card, I was like, remember his Ilia game plan? Charles has always been a guy who's going to apply a lot of pressure to you, but especially in that Ilia fight, he really went after Ilia, obviously getting knocked out. But I said, listen, if he applies that same forward pressure in this fight, he's going to win. And Gamrot really has no chance, and he did that. He fucking just turned the gas on immediately, and he saw it out. He saw a chance to finish him. He was also landing some really nice front kicks, and he was trying to get in the clinch a ton with Gamrot. Like, he would try and pull the back of his head, land a knee or an elbow, and Gamrot did a nice job getting out of it, that he wasn't getting abused in the clinch. But Charles was landing clean in there. He's so good in the clinch, man. Again, Charles gets a beautiful takedown, like a slam. Like, again, he bitched Gamrot in this fight. He slams him, takes his back, and pretty mumuch as soon as Charles Oliveira has your back, you're going to fucking die. And Charles Oliveira is just working on the choke, and then gets it in, under his chin or around the face, and gets a submission. And I was so happy. I mean, listen, my cousin got married. The wedding was fucking whatever. Who cares? This was all I care about. Charles Oliveira winning. I was so happy. I almost started crying because, listen, that turnaround against Ilia, to have this fast of a turnaround against Ilia Topuria, I was obviously nervous. Even if Gamrot's not that dangerous on the feet, guy's still very legit and very good. But Charles, man, what an impressive turnaround performance after getting knocked out by Ilia Topuria only a few months ago. And it's kind of funny. Anybody who loses to Ilia Topuria, I think whatever the last 8 guys who lost to him, won their next match, right? Or last 8 guys that got finished by him, I think, have won their next fight. And Charles Oliveira calling out Max Holloway, I said that this was we've all been saying this is the fight to make for months. As long as he got past Gamrot or Fiziev, this was the fight to make. A rematch from 10 years ago where Charles had that weird injury. This is a fight probably happens sometime in February or March. I know some idiots will be like, White House card, White House card. I should do a video. Why is every single time like a big fight is rumored or announced that would take place next year, people are like, White House card, White House card. Like, not every fucking fight can be on the White House card. So I would expect this fight to be sometime in February or probably March. I wouldn't mind Charles taking some time off. And obviously Max needs to rest his hand up. Just super impressive performance. And I'll give credit to Gamrot. He took this fight in short notice when everybody else was a bitch and didn't want to take it. And to go into Brazil and fight Charles Oliveira, you have all my respect. I'll be rooting for Gamrot for the rest of his career. I could see Gamrot maybe getting Fiziev rematch. Because remember, Fiziev got hurt in that the first fight that they had, so maybe Gamrot versus Fiziev too, and then obviously we want Holloway versus Oliveira too for the BMF. And who knows? We don't know how many more fights Charles Oliveira really has left in the tank, but he really fucking looked like prime Charles Oliveira, and it also really shows the skill gap between like those top 5 guys and the rest of the division. You know what I mean? Like, as much as we want to give Gamrot credit for being this amazing wrestler and great grappler, look at the levels to this shit that Charles Oliveira showed them. He absolutely outclassed him. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I know, it's common knowledge, is elite, but like just watching it a night like tonight, you almost forget because of how people forget, man. Because after that fucking Ilya performance, where you're like, man, does Charles have anything left in the tank? He stood up in this fight. He looked fucking amazing. Obviously, his chin and his overall skills are going to be tested against a higher level guy like Max. So who really knows what's going to happen there? I'm leaning Prime Max finishes him because I just can't. Charles' defense is just so bad. But whatever. That'll be a February or a March problem when we want to talk about that matchup. But when you have dominant grappling exchanges like Oliveira in this fight, literally anything is possible. I don't care what anybody says. I know his defense on the feet is bad and he's susceptible to a lot of shots, but who the fuck cares? I think he could beat anybody at this point after a performance like tonight. Moving down the card we go, though, to a very fucking boring co-main. I picked Montel Jackson to win this by 29-28 decision. I figured it'd be kind of a boring fight because Figgy's coming off this short, layoff after he just gets or not short, but I mean, it wasn't that long ago. He got his knee torn up by Corey Sandhagen. And I was like, this guy already was, at this point, on a 2-fight losing streak, isn't that same guy anymore. He's 36 or 37. He's old. So I really didn't think he had anything left in the tank. But I'll give him credit. I'll say this about Figgy. He showed some nice grappling. His grappling really was improved in this fight. I really thought this fight could have gone either way in terms of, the actual decision, split decision. I kind of thought Figgy did win this fight. I thought he looked good in that first round, had a nice takedown. He cracked Montel Jackson, or definitely stunned him in that first round. It was overall really just an ugly fight. Figgy almost had that arm triangle in round 2. I know some people said Montel Jackson might have won that round. It was close. The real frustration for this is somebody who picked Montel Jackson to win is like, why didn't you just throw more punches? Like, this fight was obviously close. You knew if it was going to go to a decision, that it would go to the Brazilian. It'd go to Davison Figueiredo. Instead, you decided to really throw no punches in this fight and not really use your reach to your advantage. And it goes to the decision, then you fucking lose. So, do more, Montel. I really thought you were going to win this and maybe put yourself into a spot where you could climb up the rankings, but instead you do nothing. Nice win for Figgy. I know it was ugly, and I'm not saying he really should be, he's not fighting for a title or shot or anything. He did say he wanted to fight Piotr Jan, which won't happen. Jan's going to fight Merab, and Figgy, you would get pieced up by Jan. Again, I mean, you lost, 49-46, arguably a 50-45 against Jan last time. Like, you would lose that fight again. And I love you, Figgy, but you're washed. Maybe Figgy versus Song Yadong. Even though I saw Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong has been kind of heavily rumored. I'm trying to push for Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, even though the timelines and their arrests don't necessarily match up. But I kind of want to see that fight more. But I honestly think a more reasonable fight for Figgy would just be the loser of Umar versus Mario Batista in a couple weeks, right? I feel like that's more of like on the same level. I think Figgy would lose to Song Yadong I really think he'd actually lose to any of the people I've named. So whatever. Montel Jackson, I don't know what's next for you. You literally have to do more. It's kind of embarrassing that you lost to Wash Figgy. But credit to Figgy, showed some good grappling, and it was a nice win for him. Moving down the card we go, and this was just another sad fight. Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. I just felt bad for Vicente Luque pretty much this entire fight. I had Joel Alvarez by second round knockout. This was a shit show of a fight, shit show of reffing. This should have been a first round TKO. I literally lost hundreds of possible dollars because the refs don't know how to fucking do their job. Credit to Joel, he took this fight on short notice, up a weight class. And round one, again, he literally finished him. Those refs are sharp as fucking bowling balls. They're so stupid. That first round, you know, he's fucking hitting him with those stiff jabs. And Luque, I actually thought didn't look bad on the feet really throughout the fight. He really had a great chin. It was like a prime Luque chin in this fight. But Joel got like a lead hook and then it drilled him in the eye like his knuckle did. But that's not a fucking eye poke. And then the ref stops the fight for a minute and he waved it off. Like that should have been the fight. It should have been literally dropped. He dropped into his feet. TKO, first round TKO for Joel Alvarez. Fight's over. And this literally would have continued the Joel Alvarez 100% finish rate. Instead, you know, it's no longer 100% because this fight went to, you know, 100-0 decision. I just can't believe they gave Luque a minute to recover off of something that wasn't even a fucking eye poke. But in the second round, it was literally even more domination. The jab, again, is working for Joel Alvarez. He was fucking stinging Vicente Luque with the jab all night. And then he landed this, like, nasty flying knee on him in that second round that fucking drilled him, too. Then Luque, like, I think shot a takedown in the second round. Alvarez kind of, like, stuffed a little bit, took control on the ground, and just was pounding him to death. I don't know how there wasn't a fight. I think Luque did a nice job kind of, like, tucking his body into Joel Alvarez. Like, it was just so... This fight should have just been stopped. Vicente Luque probably added another brain bleed to his repertoire after this fight. And then round three, it was literally so boring. I think Alvarez had him on the ground for 3 minutes, and I think he just gassed himself out with all the ground and pound in the second round, and then just didn't throw anything else, and just won the fight. And you're like, oh, that was kind of underwhelming, because I needed a finish. I would have won. My parlay would have hit if Joel Alvarez fucking got the finish. I will say this, my only critique about Joel Alvarez is, like, you're kind of this marauder, man, and then you fucking can't finish Vicente Luque, even though you did technically. This guy is so washed, like, you should be able to beat him. And for Vicente Luque, you should not fight any more people that I know who they are. Like, you should fight nobodies the rest of your career or retire. Like, I like you. You were one of the most entertaining finishers in the UFC, like, you know, within the last decade. You've been in the UFC since, what, 2015, 2016? You've been great, but you're on the downswing right now. You're washed. Fight bums now and finish them, because I don't want to see you getting your ass beat by guys like Joel Alvarez or Kevin Holland anymore. As for the future of Joel Alvarez, he's kind of got to take on, you know, an actual ranked guy. So I think Kevin Holland will obviously always be an option for, you know, if you're a welterweight or really anybody. I bet Kevin Holland will move with the heavyweight, and if they needed a fight, he would fucking do it. Joel Alvarez versus Kevin Holland, I think, could be an option. D-Rod's another guy. D-Rod sucks. I think Joel Alvarez would kill him. And then Gilbert Burns or Jeff Neal would be an option. I could see Gilbert Burns, but I also don't really want to see Gilbert Burns just get murked out by Joel Alvarez. So I don't know. I could see Gilbert Burns. As much as I don't want to see it, I do want to see it at the same time. I want to see like two names, like two people I care about in Joel Alvarez versus Gilbert Burns as next fight. And as we move down the card, we come into a heavyweight bout. Diniz versus Mario Pinto. Mario Pinto masterclass in this fight. I took Diniz by, I think, second round knockout or third round knockout. I picked him to win. This wasn't a fight I watched a ton of. I kind of figured, again, this would be a striking match, but Pinto really showed a lot of other areas in his game with his strong grappling, and he really just mogged Diniz. And I figured Diniz would be so much better on the feet, but Pinto landed an early takedown and just mauled him. Like, that was really the rest of the fight. He mauled him in that first round, and then was just ground and pounding him. Had like an arm, almost submitted him with an arm lock that you thought Diniz's arm was gonna fucking snap. Like, you're like, oh, this guy should just tap, and then he doesn't tap, and, you know, somehow gets out of it. Diniz really, and I kind of felt bad for him. He literally just couldn't stay Mario Pinto on the ground. He was getting crushed with elbows. Looks like a mess. Round two, Mario Pinto gets another takedown, and he just was relentless. I think Diniz got up on that first one. He was relentless with those takedowns. with another takedown, and then just finished him at the end of the round. Showed great grappling. Like, showed like he's multifaceted, like has areas to his game, which is rare for heavyweights. Most of them are just fat blobs who can't do shit. But really nice win for him. He had that interesting performance on the mic where I think he's from Portugal, and then he claims he can't speak English, even though I heard this guy speak English on the Contender Series, and then speaks perfect English. Also spoke some Portuguese to win the crowd over. And again, this dude, I think, is a solid prospect. What's that? Move him to 11-0 now. Like, he's legit. He can fight. He probably beats Marcin Tybura if they fight. And listen, the rule of heavyweight is if you beat this guy, you ranked and you're like at least decent. And if you lose to him, you're shit. So I think he beats Tybura. He probably finishes Tybura. I mean, look what Ante Delija literally did to him in that last fight in the last fight. Moving down to the first fight of the main card, we got Ricardo Ramos versus Olfi, mate. I mean, that was bad. I fucked that up. But Ricardo Ramos, these two dudes absolutely suck. But credit to Olfi, he finished them. I would cut Ricardo Ramos. What is this? Fucking 5 fights in a row this guy's lost. Olfi literally grabbed the fence so many different times in this fight, where Ramos like early had like a nasty leg lock attempt, and then Olfi grabbed and pushed off the cage to get him to save himself. Then Ramos tried to get the back of Olfi in like a takedown, and then there was another fence grab that was used to kind of get off the back of Ramos. And then he takes the back of Ricardo Ramos and then gets the rear naked choke in. Cheating worked for Olfi. Credit to him. He had a little, he was kind of crafty with that, a little crafty veteran. I actually have no clue how old Olfi is, but credit to him that he won this fight. Again, not much to say about this. It was, early finish, cut Ricardo Ramos. Good for Olfi. I can't believe that was a main event fight. Moving down to the feature fight of the fucking prelims. And listen, when I put out my pre-card predictions for this fight night, I said Lucas Almeida was going to win. I thought Michael Aswell left everything too close. And then the weigh-ins come around and you clearly see that Lucas Almeida had a broken hand. But I kept the pick, and I could have went back to Tapology and changed the pick out. But I said, you know what? I'm going to stay truthful to it, and I'll just leave it in as that. I probably should have changed it back, but I instead didn't, and I wanted to keep the integrity of the video. Listen, Lucas Almeida literally didn't try and throw his right hand once, the broken hand. His hand was obviously destroyed. I don't even think he threw it once. I don't even know why he stayed in this fight. The paycheck couldn't have been good enough. Maybe because you're the featured prelim, you get a little bit more than, $5,000 and a fucking Brazilian flag or whatever they give you, or a copy of Rio. I think that's what they give you. If you're a Brazilian UFC fighter, they give you a copy of Rio, $5,000, and a Brazilian flag with Charles Oliveira's autograph smudged on it. But Aswell was literally just immediately saw that he was compromised, just blasting him with hooks and overhands. And then the ref literally let Lucas Almeida take like 8 extra shots to the head against the cage, even though everybody in the arena knew how this fight was going to end. Aswell, credit to him. He looked sharp, and then he really, the highlight of this fight was he leaks Alessandro Pantoja versus Joshua Van for December 6th. I mean, we knew this fight was going to happen, but he leaked, what day it was and what, pay-per-view it's going to be on. And I think that's probably going to be the co-main, or maybe the main, who knows. But, credit to Michael Aswell. He did leak that. Good win from good finish. This is kind of like a fake finish because you beat a dude who's, has a broken hand. But what are you going to do? Honestly, if you're going to take on a guy who's hurt, finish him early. Moving down the card we go. Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. Listen, man. That's a nasty pick by me, taking Filho. That's a nasty pick. That's a nasty line by me. That was my shitty Chael Sonnen. I took Filho by decision, or I think I also said he could win by late submission. Credit to him. He fucking he really he just showed levels to this. I mean, this guy had almost finished Muhammad Mukayev, multiple times in the 3 rounds that they fought. Clayton Carpenter, he's just so much worse than Muhammad Mukayev. So that's why I assumed this was just an easy pick to take Filho. But I think Filho had a nice 1-2, and what I saw that wobbled Clayton Carpenter early. Then he took his back for a while, and Clayton Carpenter, I'll say this, and what I saw, did a nice job defending his back, fighting the hands, and then he even got on top of Filho. But then Filho got a nasty Kimura from bottom position? From top, excuse me, and then submitted him. It was absolutely nasty. Beautiful Kimura from Filho, one of the nastier ones I've seen in a minute. Let's keep moving down the card. That was a nice pick by me. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Petersen, this heavyweight bout. Two fucking blobs. Mostly Thomas Petersen, the blob. Vitor Petrino's got at least a little bit of muscle definition to him. Literally brutal ragdoll finish for Thomas Petersen. Like one of those that you're like, ugh. The way his body fell. That didn't look right. The way he bent that knee, man. Ugh. Early on, it was Petersen initiating a ton of grappling exchanges, and Petrino also did, but then he wouldn't try and separate off the cage. And then especially in round 2, like he would also like, I just kept thinking like, why don't you just stand and bang with this guy? Like you have so much better finishing potential. But then he would try and initiate takedowns or initiate like kind of clinches in the cage and just against the cage and would just do nothing. Like it was so weird. And then round 2, it almost looked like he was gassed. Like he would just walk away from Thomas Petersen at points. And you're like, wow, this is your average UFC level heavyweight performance. Petersen really is just a fat blob. There was some nice takedown defense, I thought, 0 for 8 on takedowns, Thomas Petersen. Nice takedown defense throughout for Vitor Petrino. Heavyweight's really just sad. I can't believe this is like a fight higher up in the prelims. And then he just gets an absolutely nasty finish. What, he get him with a right? All I know, it was brutal. The way Thomas Petersen's body fell was almost sad. And children should never be able to see that. And again, good fight, good win for Vitor Petrino. You know, decent heavyweight. That's what I'll say about him. The bar is low. Moving down the card we go. Now, these first couple prelims, I actually watched the entire thing. So I can comment a little bit more extensively on this. And Irina Alekseeva came out against Bia Mesquita. She came out first. And she just started twerking. And I thought this when I saw that. I was like, she's either going to get some sick early finish or get her ass kicked. And you know what? It was the latter. She got her ass fucking kicked. Mesquita immediately, as soon as the grappling was initiated, because this chick is a Hall of Fame Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist, she fucking initiates grappling exchange, gets her to the ground, and then nearly had her on a ground with a ground and pound TKO in that first round with elbows and punches. Like she was drilling Irina Alekseeva's head into the canvas. Round 2 starts, she lands another nice takedown, takes her back and subs her. She has really elite grappling, and I think she's like legit. She looks good. I mean, listen, I think just being on the feet is going to be a bit foreign to her, obviously, because she's pretty much just entirely trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not really a ton of, other, bases for mixed martial arts. So I assume she'll get pieced up eventually by a better women's bantamweight. But listen, that grappling's elite, and she's also very beautiful. So Bia Mesquita, you're moving up. I'm going to hit you over the follow on Instagram. Hopefully you follow the Cage Doctor back. I don't know if you have a husband, but I would love to throw my name into the hat. I'll leave it at that with Bia Mesquita. Hit me up. I want to learn some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from you. Moving down the card we go. They don't even want to load this fight because Stuart Nicoll was literally so embarrassing. But Lucas Rocha versus Stuart fucking Nicoll, man. I mean, Stuart fucking Nicoll should be cut, man. He should be fucking cut. This was awful. Stuart Nicoll looked like shit. Rocha literally made Stuart Nicoll look like a trial guy at the gym or a PFL or a fucking LFA fighter. Like, it was embarrassing how much better Lucas Rocha. And Lucas Rocha's a midget. He's literally 5'2" or 5'3". He had a nice spinning back kick in that first round that definitely stunned Stuart Nicoll. Then he dropped to his knee and just started smiling. That was the basis of this fight. Lucas Rocha would hit some nasty shit on Stuart Nicoll, and Stuart Nicoll would just smile. He's like, all right, I'm good, as he just eating punches and kicks. Again, Lucas Rocha also did a nice job just attacking the body. I think he had some nice liver shots in this round. Nicoll had like a nice takedown, but really the rest of the fight, Lucas Rocha just showed some beautiful takedown defense. I mean, 2 for 20 on takedowns for Stuart Nicoll. Like, I knew it was bad. I didn't know he shot 20 times. I mean, it felt like he shot that much, but just ridiculous. Round 2, Stuart Nicoll just looked slow the rest of the fight. It's almost like he used all his energy in the first round and then just didn't care the rest of the fight. Rocha just continued stuff takedowns. He looked so much faster literally the entire fight. And then he had some nice sprawls too throughout this fight with his takedown defense. And had some nice knees in the clinch that really fucking hurt Stuart Nicoll. Nicoll literally couldn't land shit for takedowns, obviously by the 2 for 20 point. And I'll say this about Stuart Nicoll. The only compliment I'll say about him is credit to him for eating so many shots. I think Lucas Rocha was trying to break dance at certain points and not really trying to finish Stuart Nicoll. But I'll give Stuart Nicoll credit. He's got a nice chin. Nice win for Rocha, even though I picked against this midget. I'll definitely pay attention to you. You're going to be the midget du Bronx. You know what I mean? Moving on to the... Oh, where'd that go? Julia Polastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Julia Polastri, I can't believe I picked her by decision. Maybe if I watched a little bit more of her fight, she fucking bitched Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Jesus, I'm messing up that name. Here's what I'll say about Karolina. I'll say my positives for her. She looks so old. Oh, actually, this is not a positive. She looks so old in this fight. Like Julia Polastri, I mean, 142 total strikes landed. She looks so fast. Her footwork was great. Her hand speed was great. Karolina, this is the positive for her. She has a nice chin. She ate 1,000 shots to the face. 1,001-2, survived in the third until she got like pieced up against the cage in round 3 bad, and then the fight ended. She ate a lot of punches. Even she had a couple of nice like exchanges where she tried to turn on the pressure, but she's just so slow that like Julia Polastri was never really in position to lose this fight whatsoever. Nice win for Julia. I'll be paying attention to your game a little bit more because this was a nice win over. I don't want to click onto her whole profile, UFC, but a nice win for her. And moving on to the first fight and the last fight that we're going to be breaking down today. The first fight, the prelims opener, Lacerda versus Simon Oliveira. Listen, my comments on Simon Oliveira have already been mentioned. Cut this fucker. He shouldn't be in the UFC anymore. You missed weight by 8 pounds for a bantamweight fight. He weighed in, what, 144 for this fight? He 143? That's ridiculous. The nerve to come in 8 pounds overweight for a UFC fight. Listen, I understand if you come in a pound or two overweight. Not a pound, 2 or 3 pounds overweight, because that can happen. I mean, some people's weight cuts are tough. I know it's not easy to do. I'm not trying to like shit on, people who come in. Actually, I kind of am trying to shit on people who come in overweight, but there's limits to being overweight. You know what I mean? 8 pounds is absolutely ridiculous. That's so unprofessional. You should be cut. What are you now? 0-3, 0-4 in the UFC. Like, you aren't even good anyway. We're not missing out on anything from you. He landed a nice takedown in that first round, but it didn't really matter because Lacerda is an actual UFC fighter. I know he was 0-2 before this and is on like a year or 2 year break, but he clearly locked in and looked a lot better. There were some nice exchanges from both early in the first, just like on the feet. Second round, Lacerda kind of lands a takedown, and then he gets a beautiful armbar submission on bottom position. And the fact that Simon Oliveira missed weight in literally his home country, that's insane to me. You're literally at home. This should be kind of your peak performance. You know what I mean? You should really be showing out for the crowd, your family, your friends. Instead, you embarrass everybody. You embarrassed Oliveira's name. I know you're not necessarily related to Charles, probably not. But the fact that you share the same name as a guy like Charles Oliveira is embarrassing. And you should be cut, and I never want to see you fight again. Not that I ever pay attention to you because you're an early prelims guy. But yeah. And Lacerda, nice win. I do want to see a little bit more of you because you looked a lot better after this year or 2 year long layoff. So good win for Lacerda. That's the card, man. This was a decent card. I think I went 7 for 12 on picks. Really would have been 8 for 12 if I just changed the Almeida to Aswell. But I tried to stay true to the channel. You know what I mean? I didn't want to change my picks up. So whenever I go through my Tapology, pick results at the end of the year, people can't be like, oh, he changed the Almeida Aswell pick. Like, nobody can do that to me. Even though, listen, there's not enough people watching here that are going through my picks and being like, wow, I can't believe he kept that Lucas Almeida pick. Like, if that's what people hold against me, if I ever get big, fucking so be it. Who cares? Fuck you, Lucas Almeida, for breaking your hand by some mysterious way. Maybe you tripped up the stairs. But overall, it was a decent card. There were some nice finishes. Nothing great. I'll just remember the Charles Oliveira finish. I'm really excited for what's next. As for this week, I think I'll put out a video for whatever, DeRitter versus Allen. I don't know if there'll be a post fight for that because I really don't think I'm going to watch any of it because my parents are in town. But whatever, I'll try my best. If I watch a little bit of it, then I'll do maybe just a breakdown for the main card. Even though it's a pretty good fight night. And then 2 weeks from now, we have Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, which is going to be an absolute banger. Maybe not really for Cyril Gane, but that card in general is pretty good. So, again, thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram Reels. 16,000 on a view on Instagram Reels. We're doing numbers, and I know numbers. You don't really know numbers. I know numbers, and trust me, they're so good. They're the best numbers in the world. Follow on there. And thank you all for watching. Thank you for the support. Thank you to anybody who reached out and said happy birthday 21, officially washed. And yeah, doctors signing out of the office. Let's fucking go.